The sun was just beginning to rise over the quiet neighborhood when it all started. A young black girl, no older than 13, stood on the sidewalk near her school, her backpack hanging from one shoulder. Her name was Amara. She was quiet, polite, and respectful, raised by a man who taught her never to raise her voice, even when the world did not treat her fairly. But today, the world would push her too far. As she waited for her father to pick her up, a police car slowly pulled up beside her. The officer inside narrowed his eyes suspiciously. Within minutes, what should have been a normal school day turned into a humiliating nightmare. Amara told the officer not to worry, that her father was on his way and that he was in the special forces. But instead of listening, the officer laughed in her face. What happened next would not only silence that laugh, it would leave the entire street in shock. Amara had stayed behind after school to help her teacher organize some books. She was proud to help. Her father always told her, service is strength. When she finally left the school gates, the campus was quiet. Most of the students were already home. Her father had told her to wait near the main row so he could pick her up. As she stood there minding her own business, a police officer slowly drove past and then reversed. He rolled down the window and called out, "Hey, what are you doing here? Where are your parents?" Omar turned and smiled politely. "My dad is coming to pick me up. He works with the special forces. He's just running a bit late." The officer chuckled and stepped out of the car. "Special forces, huh? That's a new one," he said mockingly. "And I'm the President of the United States." Amora stood quietly, her eyes growing wide with confusion. "No, sir, I'm not lying." But the officer kept laughing, clearly not believing her. He looked around and saw no one nearby. "Let's go," he said, reaching for her arm. "I'm taking you to the station until we figure out who you really are." Amara tried to explain herself calmly.
She didn't resist.
She remembered her father's words. Always stay calm, even when they don't treat you right. But the officer kept talking down to her. "You kids think you can just say anything. Special forces. Come on." That's just a lie to get out of trouble. People began to gather. A few parents and students still lingering after school noticed the commotion. Some took out their phones and started recording. "I didn't do anything wrong," Amara said again softly. "Please just wait. My dad is on his way." The officer didn't care. "You're coming with me," he said again, louder this time for the crowd to hear. "You've got no ID, no guardian, and now you're lying to a police officer." Just as he reached out to grab her backpack, a black SUV came to a stop across the street. The door flew open and out stepped the tall, powerful-looking man in full military gear. His presence was undeniable. Even from a distance, he carried himself with authority. The man stepped forward quickly but calmly, his boots heavy on the pavement. "Excuse me, officer," he said, his voice deep and controlled. "That's my daughter you're touching." The officer turned around and immediately took a step back. The stranger before him was no regular parent. His uniform displayed his Special Forces badge and rank. His eyes were sharp, his stance firm. He was clearly a man used to leading missions, not one to be disrespected. "Who are you?" the officer asked, now suddenly more careful with his words. "I'm Master Sergeant David Brooks," the man replied. "I just got back from a classified operation overseas, and now I find my daughter being harassed on the street by a man who should know better." The officer's face went pale. I didn't know. She said something about special forces. I thought she was joking." "She's 13, David said coldly. "Why would a child lie about something like that? Or are you just used to not believing black kids when they speak the truth?" The people watching went silent. The officer looked embarrassed. David turned to his daughter, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "Are you okay, sweetie?" Omar nodded, though her eyes were teary. "He said I was lying. He was going to take me to the station." David turned back to the officer. "Let me make something very clear. He said you don't get to put your hands on my daughter because you assumed she was lying. She's done nothing wrong. You just didn't believe her because of the color of her skin."
"I'm sorry,"
the officer mumbled. "I didn't mean any harm. Intent doesn't matter," David said. "What matters is how you treat people. Maybe next time listen instead of laugh." By now, more people had gathered. Some were cheering. Others looked ashamed. The officer slowly stepped back into his car, unable to look anyone in the eye. He drove away, without another word. David lifted Omara's backpack onto his own shoulder and held her hand. Together, they walked toward their car, proud and unbroken. As they left, someone in the crowd shouted, "You're a hero, sir." But David didn't answer. His only focus was his daughter. Omar looked up at him. "Thank you for coming, Dad." He smiled. "Always. No one messes with my little warrior." This story is not just about a child being disrespected. It's about assumptions, prejudice, and the power of truth. Amara stayed calm. She told the truth, but the world didn't believe her until her father showed up and reminded everyone that dignity, respect, and strength cannot be judged by skin color or age. Let this be a reminder. Never underestimate someone because of how they look. You never know who's standing behind them or who they truly are. If this story moved you, please like the video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe for more emotional and powerful real-life inspired stories. Thank you for watching.